Hi, and welcome back to Up to 5 Minutes, where you learn all there is to know about the real estate world in under 5 minutes. I am Alton O'Shields, a loan officer with Rate here in Philadelphia.
And I'm EricJForte, a licensed real estate agent with KW Empower in Center City, Philadelphia. So Alton, all the rage for the last week or so has been interest rates dropping, but we've also seen a real uptick in refinances. What can you tell us about it?
You know, refinances have always been the topic since rates started going up. People were expecting them. Even when we were writing these loans, we were like, you're most likely going to be refinancing. It seems after the Fed announcement, we're starting to get to that period where rates are dropping, and it's becoming a real thing for a lot of people. But there are some things that you should keep in mind if you're interested in getting a refinance.
Just because interest rates are dropping, that doesn't mean that a refinance makes sense for everyone, does it?
Exactly. You really want to look at the market as a whole. It would say right now you have an interest rate of 7 and rates dropped to 6.9, and it's a continually rate declining market. You're not going to refinance at that 6.9. You're going to want to wait until rates drop to a certain point, because there are fees involved and just time commitments as well. And you want to make sure that you're going to refinance when it's at its low, and you can't just be refinancing every little bit over the course of a couple months.
Based on the fact that a refinance isn't for everyone, is there any consumer protection advice you have for homeowners out there?
Absolutely. The first piece of advice, and it kind of relates to what we were just talking about, is again making sure that it makes sense. There's a lot of officers out there who will try to make you refinance too early just for the sake of the deal. You really want to make sure that you're speaking to a professional and someone who has a good relationship in the city, because you want to make sure that they have your best interest in mind, not just some loan officer online who's looking to take advantage of you and make you refinance early for the fees. And then what the second point too is, and it kind of goes back to that, when you are refinancing, make sure that you're looking at both the fees and the rate. It's the same thing as a purchase. A lot of loan officers out there will say, hey, we offer free refinances, meaning that there's no lender fees. But what they're really doing is charging you a higher interest rate and taking away the fees. This is kind of, extreme, but if someone offered you a 3% refinance with $1,000 in fees versus an 8% interest rate with no fees, you're obviously going to take the 3%. So you want to make sure that you're weighing all of your options as far as that goes. I also recommend when you're doing a refinance, spend some time and really think about your long-term financial goals. Is now a good time to put more money into the loan, less money into it, shorten those terms, because your goals may have changed since you originally purchased the home. So it's a good time to take the time and reset. Even if it hasn't changed, it's good just to, make sure that you've crossed every button you can.
And one of the things that I tell my prior clients who are thinking about refinancing is refinancing really is like buying the home all over again. So where you are at that stage, you need to make sure that the terms meet those goals and where you are at that stage of your home ownership and financial portfolio.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind too is that if it was originally a primary and you've moved out of the home, that's going to be and you're renting it out, that's an investment property now, which may increase your interest rate. So it really is a good thing to look at and have, like you said, a re-examination of all your goals and your current situation.
Absolutely. Before we conclude, Alton, is there any final tips or advice you have for everyone out there?
Yeah, it's just don't pull the trigger too fast. Make sure that it makes sense, like we've already mentioned, and take the time, because the interest rates are continually going to decline over the course of the next year or so based on everything that we have right now. So it's important not to do anything too quickly. Thank you again for staying with us for up to 5 minutes. Hopefully you learned a little bit about refinances. Make sure that you stay tuned to learn about a little bit more what's going on in the housing market.
And don't forget to leave your comments and questions, please, because we want to hear from you. And follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll see you next week.